Goodluck Jonathan actually contemplates sacking Professor Tahiru Jega, or asking him to proceed on terminal leave? We asked him that question. Take a listen to what he said.
I wish this is a twin interview that Professor Jega himself to do with us. I could have asked him to answer the question about whether I have confidence in Jega or not. One thing about politics, leadership generally, anywhere, is that when you're a leader, let us say maybe you're a governor of a state, been a governor before, you have a number of who support you, but you don't even know what they do or what they say. Maybe somebody has been making statements to advance your cause. The assumption is that person is close to you. Yes, that person supports you. Maybe you're a fan. And you know from your friends and your spouses, some of them may be my fans, some of them are fans of other candidates. I may not even know what they do. Somebody, a number of people used to tell me that, look, it's a president. We've been watching their media adverts and so on. That the messaging from your camp is somehow confusing. There are too many messages that go out. And sometimes I call the people, and more than 80% of those who sponsor these messages, we don't even know. That's why somebody wakes up, they say 10 reasons why President Jonathan should continue, and another person wakes up and say 1,000 reasons why. You don't even know them. So it's not what somebody says, whether that person is a fan of Jonathan or has been defending Jonathan. It's different from Jonathan.
So what does Jonathan
And if you ask Jega, Jega will tell you, I appointed members of INEC. INEC is a standing executive body defined by the Constitution. It's the president that appoints every commissioner in INEC, both the national commissioners and the REC, the resident electoral commissioners, are my appointees. So if I feel that Jega is not good enough, for obvious reasons, then I can, by there are provisions in the Constitution that gives the person who appoints the power to remove. And I've not told anybody that I'm going to remove Jega. I've never said so.
Well, if you ask me, some people would say that was a controversial one, because basically the president saying there, I'm talking about the aspect of the removal of Jega now, the president clearly saying there that, look, he has the power to remove Jega, but that he hasn't told anyone he was going to remove Jega. Now, let me just provide some background to the first part of the president's answer when he was talking about some of his supporters and all of that. Now, the question was whether he had confidence in Jega in the light of calls for Jega's resignation. And of course, one of the examples cited by I think I actually raised that question now with the president. One of the examples I cited was Chief Edwin Clark, who is very close to the president and for a very long time has been calling for the removal and arrest of Professor Tahiru Jega. So basically, I was asking the president what he made of that, you know, his supporters calling for the resignation of Jega, and if he actually had confidence in him and if he was contemplating removing him. So it was in that background that we got that answer now from the president. I would love to start with you. Your answers, I mean, your reaction now to what the president said there about him. You are a lawyer, him having the power to remove Jega since he appointed him, according to the Constitution, he said.
The president has laid to rest whatever anybody may have said, be a supporter or not a supporter. He has laid it to rest that he has no intention to remove Professor Jega. And we can go by even asking who even brought up this issue. It still comes down to the same issue. I always say that you have this time around an opposition that is not patriotic enough, that is just always interested in overheating.
But does the president have
let me tell you that basically, the appointment of the chairman of the electoral body in Nigeria is one that has to be, and that is with statutory flavor. In other words, it is guaranteed by the law. The tenure, the procedure in appointing is minimum of 5 years and can be appointed the second time. Now, but it does not preclude that, for instance, where obviously, manifestly, this man has derelict or has abused the office, now you now resort back to what the president was trying to say. The power to hire and fire. But it must be something that will be convincing enough. The reason to do that must be convincing enough.
So for you, the president actually, literally speaking, has the power to fire him?
Basically.
Yeah, of course. That's it.
Basically, you understand? Basically, whether the National Assembly or any other body, you understand, we support is another ball game entirely. Basically, but what I have said is that, let me emphasize it, is with statutory flavor, such appointment. So ordinarily, the tenure is guaranteed. You understand? But I mean, what should also interest us is that this is deliberate. What will happen now is that the president will not remove Professor Jega. The same people will come up and say that it was because we raised that issue. So it's always a blackmail game. And as much as I want a very virile opposition, I think the type of opposition that we have in this country now, so militarized.
Now, is it not understandable? It's unfortunate. Is it not understandable if people actually say the president might be planning to remove him, especially when you consider the fact that, for instance, your party, the People's Democratic Party, came out openly to say it had no confidence in Jega, even though it later changed its statement. Even Fanika, the spokesperson of your the presidential campaign organization, came out to say the same thing.
DEJI, we have one line of authority, and the only statement or opinion you can quote PTP for is the one said by the national chairman. And as I talk to you, Dr. Adamu Mazu says we have confidence in Professor Jega. So if anybody out of his own overzealousness or whatever wants to take a position, is entitled to his opinion. It's just like what you have in APC. APC will tell you that Nigeria is not even as good as even Ghana, but they will tell you that Lagos State is better than London. Double standard.
Let me get your reaction.
Well, thank you very much. I think one thing we have to take note of from the last excerpt is that Mr. President, as in his usual style, was dodgy and evasive. Do you have confidence in Jega? Simple question. Yes or no?
He said yes.
Wait, please don't. I didn't interrupt you now. Abba, please be civil.
He actually didn't say yes.
Please be civil now.
Yeah, just go on.
The president said, yeah, I would have wished the guy was here so that you ask him. You can see. Then the president said, I have not told anybody I'm going to remove Jega. Look, the main game plan is that Mr. President doesn't have the power to remove Jega without the authority of the National Assembly. He appoints based on his nomination and confirmation by the National Assembly. And some lawyers have called and they've issued statement that, look, under the law, you cannot remove Jega without recourse to the National Assembly. So what Mr. President...
we had this argument when the former governor of the central bank was removed. And then the president removed him and nothing happened.
The president removed him because the National Assembly was silent. That's another different. But in this one, that the president is an active participant, that is a player. The game plan of Mr. President is that Mr. President has been using his party to raise the cries. You will see advertorials in all the dailies against Jega that have accused him of, allowing 80% of people to have collected their PVC in the north, while they are claiming that 38% have collected theirs in the south. They are also claiming that in Lagos is a blackmail, that non-indigents are denied the collection of their PVC. And we have challenged them that anywhere you see an infraction of the law, it behoves on a responsible citizen to report to these appropriate authorities and not go to town making blackmail. It is dangerous for our peace, the security and unity of the country. What Mr. President, the game plan of Mr. President is that Mr. President is going to toe the same line he did with former governor of Central Bank, now Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamdo Sanusi, as well as former president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Issa Salami. When the cries become so strident, as they have started now, every day you see all the adverts is about destroying INEC as an institution. INEC belongs to me and you.
All right.
But for you to now bring politics and ethnicity into the work of INEC, it shows that you don't have the love of the country as well as the...
I'll let you have the last word on this.
On record, we have President Goodluck Jonathan as the best president that has given to us free, fair, credible elections, that is promoting democracy the most sincere way the president should promote. Now, this is a president who has given us the opportunity to have Professor Jega. For the sake of making my point, Professor Jega is an astute, a man of integrity, credibility. You understand? Now, this man has also been given all the wherewithal, money, logistics, all this to give us the best electoral system. Now, this system is so good enough that you cannot even rig because of the card reader and the rest, including some other things that President Goodluck Jonathan has allowed. Now, so how do you now find it very convenient to blackmail such a man as not interested in giving credible election?
Let's take up another issue now, the issue of whether the president, if he lost this election, would be willing to hand over. There was a report during the week that, look, if the president lost the election, he would not hand over to Buhari, for instance, if Buhari won the election, that he'd rather work for the imposition of an interim government. We actually asked the president that at the media chat if he would hand over if he lost the election. Take a listen to his answer.
If in 2011 I said that I will conduct free and fair elections, and if I lose, I'll happily go home, and it should be recorded as at that time no African sitting presidents had lost election. But within this period, the number of African sitting presidents have been lost election. But I said I wanted to create the history to be the first African president that will lose election, but let the world know that the elections are free and fair. Then I just concluded the late president's term. I was just a president for about a year, acting for some months then. But I said that I would be happy to go home, that this nation is more important than any human being, and I still maintain it. Anybody who wants to hold this office of a president or any office at all and feel that he is more important than the nation, then that is not quite right. So if as at that time I said that I was ready to conduct free and fair election, and if I lose, I'll go. We're not to talk about now that at least Nigerians gave me the opportunity to be here for 4 full years. So if the elections are conducted and I lose, of course, they will inaugurate a new government. There's no way you say, okay, if I lose, I will not hand over to. No. I think unnecessary insinuation. Those are the things that make you a cab driver to be a bit.
My cab driver, my staff, children. I ask all kinds of people to ask questions. Anything they want to find out from Mr. President.
Those are insinuations that it's quite unfortunate. There's a lot of wrong information that is floating in the system, especially in the social media, even in the normal media, both television, radio, and even the print media.
That's a forthright answer, isn't it,
No.
Nelson?
That was not a forthright answer. If you play back, the president said, if elections are conducted, if I lose, we are all educated. If is a conditional statement. You expect the president to have made a categorical statement.
How should he have?
An assertive statement that elections will be conducted, whoever wins will be sworn in. You don't expect the president.
Is that not a question of semantics?
No. If, what is the implication? What is the meaning of if?
But if also is, I mean,
what is the meaning of if?
But the president losing the election is also conditional because he could win it. I'm just asking.
DEJI, please. What is the meaning of if?
I understand your point. If, of course, if is a conditional clause.
It's a conditional clause. It shows you that the president is not, the president's word is law in any country.
And you're expecting the president to say, look, this election will be conducted, I will lose it.
No.
Okay.
I expect the president to say the elections will be conducted come March 28th. I expected the president, as the president of Nigeria, who has the authority of states in his hands, to make a categorical statement and say, elections will be conducted, whoever wins will be sworn in. On every issue that the president was asked, the president was dodgy and evasive. The president cannot tell me if elections are conducted. That means the presidency has a game plan. I can bet you will be surprised if you buy into the president's idea that elections will be conducted.
Is it not possible that it's just the way the president... It's probably because of the way the president talks.
DEJI, the president of a country must exude confidence. It is the image, is the symbol of the country. How can the president of the country be talking like somebody who is drowsy? It's not permissible. The president must speak with forthrightness. The president must speak as authority of the state. And that is what that office represents. The president is not allowed for the president to say if. The president should assert.
I think it is also important that we watch the choice of word there, because, I mean, don't show too much hatred of the data.
The hatred against you.
Now let me tell you.
I'm not showing hatred at all.
Let me tell you that probably what you were expecting him to say is that you will say that when I lose. I mean, this is simple grammar.
It's the elections it's the elections I'm talking about too, not about his losing or winning.
Let me talk. I didn't interject you. Mr. President has said unequivocally that if election is conducted, if I lose, I will hand over. No problem about that. Now the reason is because election must be conducted and he must lose before he can hand over. And so I don't think there's any argument about that. Now, a man who has also said that the handover date is sacrosanct. What else do you want? The man has said that the date of handing over 29th May is sacrosanct. Even the INEC.
But also important, some people would say, is who do you hand over to?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Don't be surprised that General Buhari may not even be the next president.
He might not win the election.
He might not win the election.
A third candidate might just win it. You're right.
You understand? So what he has said, and honestly speaking, I want to say again, and that is why he's probably been taken for granted. President Goodluck Jonathan has a high level of humility. This is a man who can, even deliberately, I'm not saying it because I'm a party member. I'm not saying that he should do it. But he can discountenance any invitation for any media chat at this time. And it will leave the whole country in the dark. His aides will continue to speak to us. You know, but this is a man who believes and knows that people must hear from him as president. And he can only come and speak to you as respectfully as possible. It's not what you have in the opposition, where they will just tell you, this is this, and nothing happens. I just told you the instance of us not having election in Lagos State.
Anyway, I understand you perfect. And talking about opposition, it's really funny. At the center, you are the ruling party. At the state level, you are in the opposition. Tell me how it feels to be in the opposition. And well, is it something? Do you think it would be a good thing for the PDP to be in the opposition at the center?
The opposition at the center, the PDP to be.
I mean, from your experience of being in the opposition at the state level.
Well, you definitely should expect that. I will just take it as rhetorical. But honestly speaking, there is no reason why we cannot have such variegated arrangements where I mean, opposition ruling, you understand, but it becomes very, I mean, dangerous for the polity where you have an opposition that doesn't see himself as a constructive one.
Very, very quickly now, because we have to end the program. Nelson, what kind of election do you foresee March the 28th, presidential, March the 28th, 2015?
Well, my prayer is that may elections hold, but so far, so good from the body language of Mr. President and his party. One can see that we are back to the days of the military self-perpetuation in power. So it behoves on Nigerians to rise up, that this is their country, they have no other place to go. I expect that if elections are conducted...
Are you not confident elections will be conducted?
I'm not confident, because I've seen a lot of things. I was a player in the June 12 crisis, and we all knew that, how Babangida dribbled us, and we are beginning to see the signs. We hope it doesn't happen, but by and large, I know that if elections are conducted, and the Nigerian people must stand up and insist that elections have to be conducted,
that the man you support will win, and that's
yes, and may the choice of the people emerge victorious.
Amen.
So I expect that Nigerians, this is the time for Nigerians to stand up and make everybody realize that we all own this country. No matter your position or status, you are not bigger than the country. Elections must be held and the winner must be declared. And I want to admonish the people to eschew violence, to go, that the only weapon that they should take to the polling units should be their phones and their permanent voters card. All this campaign by some people that they will not allow the use of card reader, that they are trying to blackmail INEC at this time in point, should be seen as the cries of a desperate body.
And your own final word.
Election will hold this time, and if election will not hold, it will not be because of any non-collection of PVC. it might be because of insecurity.
Do you foresee a situation where elections will not hold?
God forbid. God forbid.
For you to be saying if elections will not hold,
yes,
it will be because of security. Let's not just pray for that. Let's say elections will hold.
Let us say what is on ground. We have a serious problem in the north.
Now, the way you're talking is why some Nigerians feel...
No, it's because what we are doing here is not... I am not compelling. What I am doing is analysis.
The Constitution does not envisage a situation where elections will not hold.
DEJI, if we are going to have a football match, if you bring me up as an analyst, I am not going to tell you that the game will be 0. I will analyze to you. It is now left for you to take those analyses.
But the game must be played now.
Please.
Just let him.
It is now left for you to agree that a team that does not have wingers, that does not have attackers, can go and win. But I will tell you that the team that is coming, so team does not have this, does not have this, does not have, and to win they should have this.
Bottom line, what you're saying
the bottom line is
the possibility of elections holding 20.
God forbid. That is why I said God forbid.
Of March will be dependent on the security situation.
That election must hold. You understand? Is what we want. And I have just told you that, God forbid, if such will not happen, it will not be because of the issue of PVC now. It will now be maybe because of the insecurity. And now the challenge now here is that the people who started this insecurity, this insurgency, this militarized opposition should now take the mantle to make sure that they go and make the insurgency in the north.
For you, the opposition is responsible for
They are responsible. They are responsible.
I think I disagree with you, but that's my own opinion.
Yeah, but a lot of Nigerians agree with me.
I strongly disagree with you. But I think elections will not hold March this year. Elections should hold no matter what.
Yes.
That's what I think. It should hold no matter what. Let's just do this thing and get it over with. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Nelson, thank you very much for your wonderful contributions.
So God be the glory.
Gani, your wonderful contributions too, we really appreciate. Well, that's it on the program. We thank you very much for watching. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. All you just need to do is go to our website, tv360nigeria.com. You'll find this program there and lots more. You can also check us out on YouTube. Our YouTube address is youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria, or you could as well just check us out now on Google Plus. That's Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria, and on Facebook, the address is facebook.com/TV360 online. And on Twitter, our handle is at TV360 online. And one last one, well, you just have to wait until then when something new comes up. That's it. We'll see you next week.